In today's video, I'm going to share with you how a client had a miraculous healing by using a hypnotic process and how you can use this process for yourself. What I'm going to share with you with the quote unquote miraculous healing, many people aren't going to believe just because we have been indoctrinated to think a certain way when it comes to healing. And I'm fine with that. And even the second story I share with you is going to be a woman that was holding herself back from creating success. She was self-sabotaging, and it actually was showing up in her technology. And I'll share with you what it was that was coming up for her and how we overcame it. First and foremost, the woman that I mentioned who had the quote unquote miraculous healing. And the reason I put that in quotes is, number one, I'm not claiming that I can cure any diseases. Matter of fact, these are all imaginary stories, right? These are all made up and allegedly, okay? I'm not claiming I can cure anything, nothing like that. I'm just going to tell you something that simply happened, okay? So about a month and a half ago, I was doing our hypnosis certification. So we have our certification, we have a master certification. We're doing our practitioner certification live here in Vegas. And one of the key things that I teach is, it's, in my opinion, the most important thing that I teach is something called a breakthrough. So a breakthrough is a series of questions in a specific order that when asked, when somebody's in trance, you can find the answer to why it is they are struggling with whatever they are struggling with. And there's a list of different things. Maybe in another video, I'll go through it. So I'm teaching this, I'm demonstrating this. And I said, hey, who in here is dealing with some type of issue in their life, right? And I go around the room and I like to pick the most challenging, difficult situation that I can possibly pick so that people can see the power in this. So a couple people raised their hand, and finally I came to a woman who said she had been struggling with, and she was dealing with tumors all over her body. She had like 18 or 14 different tumors, and the doctors didn't know why, they didn't know how to heal it. So I said, okay, come on up. And here's the thing. Again, I never claim that we can heal or cure any disease. All I'm doing is going through and helping them deal with the emotional aspect to what they're dealing with. That way, if whatever they're dealing with doesn't go away or it doesn't improve, at least they have the ability to deal with it emotionally. Hopefully that makes sense. So I bring her up and we start doing this breakthrough. And while we're doing it, she's well aware of what's going on. You know, one of the misconceptions with hypnosis is that you're not going to hear or know what's going on, and you're in this place, this dream trance state where you don't know what's happening. No, you know what's happening. So I take her through these questions, and what we had discovered is that this woman, for the previous 10 years, or might have even been a little bit more, she was taking care of her parents. Her parents were dying, and it was to her detriment, to her own health started to go bad. And about within the last year of us doing our session, her parents had actually passed away, and now she was having to deal with their estate. And her parents were wealthy, so they left each child, different assets and money and things like this. Well, it turned out that through her parents' death, her children started to fight over who was going to get what out of the estate. So one of the things we do is whenever somebody's going through something in their life, we ask them, hey, how does this, what you just said, your parents passed away, you're watching, how does that relate to what's happening now with your sickness and with your tumors? And ultimately, and I won't go through the whole series of questions here, it'll take about an hour, but when we got down to the root of why this was happening, what she had discovered is that her body, this is what she said, her subconscious mind was creating her own illness because she never set boundaries with her family, and she was always taking care of other people. And so it was her way of saying, hey, I don't want to take care of anybody else. It's time to take care of myself. Well, because she wasn't doing that for so long and she was ignoring signals, her body said, okay, you don't want to set the boundaries yourself. You don't want to just say, hey, I got to take care of myself first. We're going to make you have to take care of yourself. And again, she got all these tumors and everything else. Now, here's the miraculous part. Okay. And I put miraculous in quotes because, again, what I'm sharing with you isn't really a miracle. This is something that's how things should be and how they have always been. We have just been indoctrinated to think that these types of things are miraculous healings. Okay. And again, this is how it's always been. It's just for the past, 100 years or so, it's been different. So a week later, after our training, she went to the doctor and ran tests. And a week after that, she reached back out to us and said, guys, you are not going to believe this. All of my tumors are completely gone. The doctors don't know how, they don't know how to explain it. They don't know what happened. All my tumors are gone. She had on her pancreas, on her liver, on her kidneys. Now, she also said, and it's not a mistake because this is all brand new equipment that they were using. And she goes, there's no way to really tell or prove it, but I think that hypnosis session that I did with Dom, getting me to realize that I need to take care of myself first, is what got me to let go of the emotional side of what I was holding on to, which allowed my body to heal. So again, hit the like button if you know what I'm talking about. If you know that there are other ways to heal ourselves emotionally, mentally, spiritually, and that it doesn't have to be I don't even want to say traditional, because really not traditional. And not all traditional stuff is bad. It's just that there's so many other modalities that have no side effects that you can do to heal. Okay, hit the like button if you know what I'm talking about. Now, the second woman who was holding herself back from success, well, what happened with her, and I was teaching, this was another demonstration. This was the online portion of the training of what we do. So we have in-person and online. And on the online, I said, hey, everything that is happening to us, we are creating from within, and it is showing up in our reality. Everything is a subconscious or unconscious projection based off our internal belief systems. And I say everything that happens to us is ultimately we are creating it. And when I said this, I'm like, I'm telling the group, car accidents, people attacking you, somebody breaking into your house, everything. And this is very hard to understand. This is very hard to believe. And I know people that are watching this are going to be in the mindset of, no, this isn't my fault. Nothing is my responsibility. They did it to me. And here's the thing. That's okay. You can be in that mindset. All I know is that doesn't help us move forward. So I teach people to always take the perspective that it's our creation. Again, you got in the car accident, even if somebody else hit you, they ran into, they rear-ended you. We still take the perspective, hey, why did I create this situation in my reality? Now, hear me out, because again, this is hard to believe. So I started going around the group and I said, okay, something random, a pattern that you notice is happening that you want to address. So one of the women raised her hand and she said, hey, what's really weird is every time I go to do a session, so when people sign up with our certification, sometimes, not every time, if we're doing like a special or something, we'll include 6 sessions or more sometimes with one of our hypnotherapists, where they can actually not just learn what they're doing, but experience what they're doing by somebody who has a lot of experience. And then, people partner up with different people in the group while they're practicing, but those people are practicing. They don't know it like our team, right? So she says, every time I jump on to do a session with one of our team members, she goes, something happens with technology. One time my volume would not turn on my computer. Another time my video wouldn't turn on. And another time her computer kept shutting down and kept shutting down and kept shutting down. And I said, okay, let's pretend that you are creating this from within yourself, that something is going on internally that's causing this to happen. Now, most people, when they hear what I'm hearing right now, they would just think, oh, it's just an accident. It's just a coincidence. There's nothing to see here. When you really understand how we do affect our technology, we are creating from within, you can actually go and clear it. So I took her through the same breakthrough process that I mentioned with the woman I just talked about. And this is what we discovered. Well, about 6 years ago, her husband had cheated on her. And during that time, she started having issues with her phone. Her phone was broken. It would turn on and off all the time. And she didn't know why. I think she had Verizon or something, said, we don't know why it's happening. So again, we asked her, how does that relate to what's going on now? And another time, about, I think for an entire year, she couldn't turn on her Tesla from her phone. Okay. Again, another thing you'll see here in a second. And then ultimately, why this was happening, this pattern of her showing up, getting about ready to break through, ready to do the sessions, and then her computer self-sabotaging, what she realized is that she was creating this self-sabotage of the phones breaking, the car not working, the computer's not working because, oh, by the way, what ended up happening was she had the Tesla and she was looking for a new career, but it wasn't working. So every time she would go to get to do an interview, like her car just wouldn't start, which is really weird. Nobody at Tesla knew why. So what we ultimately came down to is that she was self-sabotaging because she was afraid. She was afraid that if she was able to break through and clear out her traumas, clear out her limiting beliefs, that she would leave her husband, right, for cheating on her. And if she left her husband, now she would be 100% responsible for her success. And she was afraid of that, right? She was afraid to go out and fail. And ultimately, when we really regressed her, we went into the subconscious mind and figured out what it was. What we discovered is that when her mom was pregnant with her, okay, by the way, all of your parents' memories, your grandparents, your great-grandparents, all of those memories are passed down and encoded in our genes and our DNA. And so often people are experiencing traumas and triggers and limiting beliefs and self-sabotage, not because of anything that you went through in this lifetime. It could be stuff that was passed down genetically from your parents. So in this particular woman's situation, when her mother was pregnant with her, her mother was at the lake with her father, and she almost drowned. And so because she almost drowned, she started to think to herself, because her mother didn't know how to swim, she was stepping outside of her comfort zone. She was doing something that she didn't know how to do, and she almost lost her life because of it. So how this transferred to our client is our client realized, hey, if I do anything that's outside of my comfort zone, if I step into a new version of myself and do something I don't know how to do, I'm going to die. Like, that's how deeply rooted it was, right? And maybe it's not like, she drowned, but I'm going to lose my stability, my security, which is her husband, right? So once we're able to clear that out, guess what? Suddenly technology starts working fine. Suddenly you're not breaking your phone anymore. Suddenly your car is working perfectly fine, and you can go out and create the life that you want. So if you notice, by the way, if this is making sense, hit the like button. And if you could, I want you to pay attention right now. If you have any patterns of weird things that you can't explain and they're showing up and you don't know why, that's okay. I want you to comment them down in the description. Again, is it, hey man, I've crashed my car a bunch of times. I remember I had a client she had like 6 concussions in a very short amount of time. And the reason she had concussions so quickly is because every time she was about to do work that she didn't want to do, she wanted to avoid it, she would get a concussion. And that way she had an excuse to not do the work. So if you have any of these like reoccurring health issues, financial things, relationship thing, you're attracting narcissists or anything, comment down in the description. And what you'll discover is that by you commenting, it'll help bring some stuff to the surface so you can start healing, okay? And by the way, look, if this resonated with you and you're like, Dom, I want to really dive deep into my subconscious mind. You're a business owner or you're a sales professional. That's who we specialize in working with one-on-one. There's going to be a link down in the description for you to book a free assessment with one of my certified hypnotherapists to see if either you and I are a good fit to work together or you and somebody on my team. Now, if you want to learn these principles and these techniques to be able to heal yourself, to be able to program your mind to supercharge your subconscious mind for success, and also give that gift of healing and success to others, you want to help other people, there's going to be a link down in the description for a free hypnosis training. We're going to walk you through what hypnosis is, what hypnosis isn't, and I'm going to teach you some hypnotic language patterns that you can start using right now to be able to create success. So thank you for watching. Again, comment, like, get all the links, all that good stuff. See you guys in the next video.